Browns-Eagles wrapping up joint practices day 2. Mary Kay, Joel Bitonio joked that this is why they don't do 3 days of joint practices, because day 3 would be a bloodbath. Day 2 got a little bit chippy, and it left Joel Bitonio actually a little upset afterwards. There was a little dust up between DeJuan Jones and some Eagles players. Both the Browns offense and the Eagles defense came together, but like I said, Joel wasn't real happy with some of what the Eagles did out there.
Yeah, he actually said that they took some cheap shots both ways against the Browns, and he was specifically most miffed about the fact that they touched his quarterback and they knocked the ball out of his hand. He did not like that at all. That's against the rules. You're not supposed to touch the quarterback in these practices. And so he left here from these 2 days of practices against the Eagles feeling a little bit ticked off about that. So you're right. Everybody's lucky that this was over with today because tempers did flare. There was that fight that you mentioned, and then a few of what Joel called cheap shots.
Yeah, and if you're wondering, these guys aren't going to be going against each other at all on Thursday. The starters are going to sit, so not only the day off for everything to simmer down, but they won't be facing each other on Thursday at Lincoln Financial Field right behind us in that preseason game. But Ashley, it really felt to me like the Eagles came out today and wanted to be physical, wanted to be tough. So I'm not surprised that the Browns kind of walked away feeling like maybe they crossed a line.
I'm not either. I mean, we've talked about it. That Eagles sideline felt loud, especially at the end when they were doing red zone 2-minute drills and more of that situational work towards the goal line. It felt like they came out here with something to prove. And I think yesterday, Dan, I know you watched the defense more, but it felt like the Browns defense maybe got the best of them a little bit and they wanted to come out here and prove something. And I think they did. It felt like they had a ton of energy today.
Yeah, Mary Kay, the Eagles aren't going to sit there and tell us how they felt about that Monday practice, but I think they showed us today with just, again, it was so loud out there, and they did, whether it was cheap shots or not, they were playing a physical brand of football, and it felt like, for what it's worth to win a joint practice, it felt like they won today's.
Yeah, it really did. Even Joel, acknowledged that in that last team period that the defense got the best of the Browns offense. And, Deshaun threw 2 interceptions today, a safety. Reed Blankenship has gotten 3 interceptions in the last 2 days. And we have to remember that Elijah Moore was not out here. This was not the full complement of offense. That would have been like the Eagles being without either A.J. Brown or Devonta Smith. So I think that had something to do with it. It might have thrown everybody off a little bit on this Browns offense because he has been the star of training camp so far. But yeah, it was not the Browns offense's best day, but I think it gives them something to take back home and go back to the drawing board with.
And Ashley, we should also note that the Browns offensive line too, they did some funky things. Jack Conklin was not out there, and we also noticed that they mixed in some Michael Dunn with the first team and some DeJuan Jones at right tackle with the first team.
Yeah, and it was I'm trying to think, Wyatt Teller and James Hudson then with the second team. So Joel seemed to think that, it was just them trying to get some different looks, maybe some film of them going up against the ones. But it was interesting, I think, to get that. And I also like Joel's quote about Elijah Moore. And I don't play chess, so I can't fact check Joel on this, but he said he's like the queen on a chessboard where you want to be able to move him wherever you can. So if Joel has the basic rules of chess right, I think it is an apt description for Elijah Moore.
Well, I'm about 2 seasons into a rewatch of The Wire, so I've seen the chess scene again. So yes, the queen can move wherever she wants. That knowledge comes straight from D'Angelo Barksdale's mouth. Let's wrap this up, these 2 days of joint practices. Let's put a bow on it. Mary Kay, what is your takeaway from what we saw?
I think my takeaway is kind of what we saw today, and I might have a little bit of a recency bias about it, but I think the Browns need to go back to the drawing board on offense and make sure that they have their ducks in a row in the red zone, that they are completely on point. And again, they were playing the Super Bowl runner-ups the last 2 days, but still, you really have to be able to score the football, and I don't think they did a good enough job of that today.
Ashley, what did you take away?
Yeah, I think it is just making sure that everything besides Elijah Moore, that they have some semblance of creativity when he's not out there, because I think you can't pin the entire offense on him. And again, I felt like it's good considering that we didn't notice his absence, right? But I just think that there has to be some creativity outside of him and getting more of that as you get closer and closer to the season and your install finishes.
Yeah, for me, I thought, look, on day one, I thought the Browns held up really well. I thought the defense looked kind of what we thought it was going to look like. I didn't watch a lot of the defense today, but I think seeing how the Eagles came out today wanting to make a statement in this practice, and look, we could talk about joint practices. Do they matter? Don't they? The Eagles, who went to the Super Bowl last year, sure thought it mattered today to come out and make a statement. I thought that was impressive, and I think it just shows that the Browns maybe still need to find that extra level. They've got plenty of time to do it, and of course, as they try to find it, we're going to cover it all at cleveland.com/Browns.